Hello, YouTube. Shin Tiger Curl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you another episode of Random Thoughts. Now, it has been a little under 12 hours since the Raw pay-per-view No Mercy, Sunday, September 25th, 2017. And there's something I wanted to talk about, something to get off my chest. And I was facilitated to do this video thanks to my friend and fellow compatriot on RVT Entertainment, Mr. TWK of TWK Reviews. And if you don't already know the subject of what this video is going to be about, you've seen the title and you see the picture on the screen. We're going to be talking about ENZO AMORE and how the Cruiserweight division died last night. Now, I liked the Cruiserweight Classic. It's one of the best tournaments I've ever seen inside the WWE. It was just pure athletic goodness. It exposed me to so much good talent that I had never seen before, including some old favorites. When they told us that after the Cruiserweight Classic they were bringing back the Cruiserweight division to be Raw exclusive, as well as bringing back the Cruiserweight Championship, I was excited. After seeing these guys perform in this tournament, I wanted to see more of them. And for the past year, I've seen these guys legitimately struggle just to get on TV and just to be taken seriously. This is of course questionable feuds and booking choices, but they always delivered a good solid product of in-ring action, even if the audience didn't appreciate them, or even if they didn't have much time. I mean, it goes without saying, man. The guys are talented. It's just that the bookers and the higher ups don't know how to book them properly. And they don't book them in a way that makes people want to care about them, which is sad, really, because I see these guys and they're busting their asses trying to get over with the crowd, and it breaks my heart. I see so many talented guys like Drew Gulak and Tony Nese and TJP, Rich Swann, Cedric Alexander, the Brian Kendrick, Jack Gallagher. I love the fuck out of Jack Gallagher. And they just couldn't get over. Then they brought in Neville, who was just coming off a major leg injury. And he did a heel turn to become the king of the cruiserweights. And he held this division down since January of this year, since the Royal Rumble, when he first won the cruiserweight title. And he became the most dominant champion on the main roster. Second, his dominance is second only to Asuka, who's the most dominant champion in the company, period. And you can see he was putting his all into this. He reinvented his character as this arrogant but highly talented individual who gets over with the crowd. And he's very good with technical wrestling as well as high flying shit, and he's surprisingly strong for a guy that size. Now Neville is not a paper champion. He doesn't cheat. He doesn't mess around. He doesn't do anything the heels do. He just gets in the ring, does his thing, beats the crap out of guys. He's taken on pretty much any and all comers to his title, and that's why he's the most dominant champ. He was the most dominant champion on the 205 roster. It goes without saying that he held that division down. He held it on his back, kept it going, kept it relevant, because the king of the cruiserweights, Neville, is interesting. And I wanted to see more great matches out of him. Then comes ENZO AMORE. Now, I'm not going to completely bash on the guy. I will say this. He's probably one of the best mic workers in the entire company. His flow, his delivery, his improvisational skills are just second to none. And he doesn't even have to curse that much in his promos, and that's saying something. He got promo advice and tips from the late great Dusty Rhodes, and that's primarily his selling point. But the problem with Enzo is that's all there is to him, is a mouth, and that's gotten him in trouble both in the ring and outside of the ring, because he has a lot of heat backstage, because essentially he writes checks his body can't cash. And what I mean is, he said, from the reports I've read, is that Enzo talks about how he's such a great wrestler, but then he gets in the ring and he doesn't deliver. It's like me saying I'm a magnificent chef who can cook anything. You ask me to make a souffle, and it comes out a burnt mess of an apocalypse in the oven. So that's the problem with Enzo. That's the problem he had backstage. Now, after him and Cass split, and it just seemed like Cass was on the fast track to bigger things, despite him getting some heat backstage for his questionable political leanings, and then he jacked up his leg fighting Enzo. So Enzo was sent down to the cruiserweights. Now, I was happy about this initially because Enzo could bring a lot of level of charisma and much needed attention to the cruiserweight division. And hopefully, I thought that Enzo was going to at least try to improve in the ring, because he is in there with some quality talent, some quality people who know what they're doing. But unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. He spent most of his time cheating. Now, he's not the first face to cheat, and I'm gonna get into that a little bit later. But he didn't try to adjust and get up to the level of everybody else, because the talent, regardless of how you perceive the cruiserweights, the talent in the cruiserweight division is top tier shit. And Enzo needed to, in order to be believable, at least in my opinion, he needed to elevate his game at least somewhat to a passable level to have a decent enough match. So last night, he had a title match against Neville, the king of the cruiserweights, the guy who's been holding down the cruiserweights for nearly 8-9 months so far. The man who has been the face of the cruiserweights for that long. And Enzo spent most of the match getting his ass kicked. Then he goes outside the ring, grabs the title like he won it, eggs Neville on. Neville gives chase outside. Enzo pops back in the ring with the title and looks like he's going to clock Neville with it. And then when the ref takes the belt from him and leaves it outside, he just straight up kicks him in the dick. And then he pins him. 1, 2, 3. As you can see by the image on the screen, Enzo Amore is your new Cruiserweight champion. Now, why do I say this is the death of the Cruiserweights? It's quite simple, really. Because Enzo does not make himself out to be a credible champion. He wasn't even throughout the entire match, he was barely a threat to Neville at all. He barely got any offense in, 1 or 2 big moves. It was mostly Neville just beating the shit out of him, which is par for the course for an Enzo Amore match, because he constantly gets the crap beaten out of him. How can we legitimately take a guy as a threat, let alone a title winner, if most if not all of his matches consist of him getting the ever-loving shit kicked out of him? And he supposedly is now the face of the cruiserweights. So you mean to tell me that guys like Jack Gallagher, like TJP, like the Brian Kendrick, like Rich Swann, like Takira Tozawa, like Austin fucking Aries couldn't knock this guy off? But Enzo Amore, a guy who can barely wrestle as is, or can't wrestle as good as he thinks he is, beats him in his first try. Cheating. Now, a lot of people have brought up the fact that AJ Styles has kicked people in the dick and won matches and cheated too, as well as Eddie Guerrero. But here's the thing. People could comment and make comparisons between Enzo Amore's cheating and Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero's cheating was art. He was the Da Vinci of cheating. Enzo Amore is an 8-year-old doing finger paints in school. That's how when Eddie cheated, there was a level of impishness and cunning and just all around fun when he did it. But more than that, Eddie could actually wrestle. He was one of the best wrestlers of his generation, alongside guys like fucking Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit. The guys had 5-star classic matches since his early days in ECW, in WCW, and in WWE. He could make you care about him, whether he was, and he was so unabashed about it. He lied, he cheated, and he stole. He made him no secrets that he did. But like I said, he is a great wrestler who just happens to cheat. Enzo can't wrestle because all he can do is cheat. There's the difference. When someone like AJ Styles does it, he does it because he wants to get a slight edge over his opponent who might or might not be unequal to him in the ring, which is saying something. Enzo's entire thing is that he cheats. He's been doing it since he joined the 205 roster. He pokes people in the eyes, uses foreign objects. He kicked people in the dick. And people are saying this is a good thing, that he brings in merch. It just doesn't sell for me. It just doesn't sell. I mean, you can look at the polar opposite of this guy in Jason Jordan. Jason Jordan is an in-ring master. The guy is a machine when it comes to wrestling. His promo work needs a lot of work, but he at least can pull off, but he at least supplements that, but at least can counter that by having great matches. He had 2 back-to-back matches last week against, well, 2 back-to-back matches per week against Cena and Reigns, and he looked like a top contender even though he lost. Enzo looks like a crash test dummy. He just gets thrown around, beaten up, and we're supposed to buy that he is the best guy in the cruiserweight division? We're supposed to buy that? But no. He kicked Neville in the dick and thus kicked the entire cruiserweight division in the dick as well. And there have been tweets from various members of the cruiserweight division saying, bemoaning their displeasure. They work so hard to be taken seriously by the crowd and by the higher-ups. And now they got fucking Enzo as champion. We went from a king to a clown. And that's tragic. So that's all I wanted to say about the issue of Enzo Amore pretty much being a cruiserweight champion, killing the cruiserweight division. So that's my video. If you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe below. I really appreciate it. If you want to support the channel, I have a Patreon. At Shin Tiger Curl. Look it up. It's right. And just drop a few dollars in the bucket. And that's all I have to say. So until next time, it's been Shin Tiger Curl, that dude in the straw hat, saying good day and rest in peace, cruiserweight division. You will be missed.